Hi everyone. Okay, I am going to show you how to make these backgrounds. So I have one, there's another one, something like this. So we are trying to make this look like we are under the water because the next step we're going to put these drawings inspired by Yanela James onto our background. But today I want to just focus on the background and the wet on wet technique. This is a lot like what we did for the penguin, except this time we're not using the salt, we're not using the liquid watercolor, and you might incorporate a few more different colors. Again, stay away from brown, stay away from black, probably not necessary to use much white. And then we won't need the warmer colors, like red and orange are probably gonna just muddy up this artwork. So I'm gonna stick here in my purples, my blues, my greens. This is a nice green. This is a nice green. Maybe if I use some purple, just use it sparingly. You do not need a lot. So all of this is very lightly done because we want our marker at the end of this. Oops, water all over the place. We want our marker. Oh, I'm using a fairly large brush for this. A tiny brush will still work. It's just going to take you a little longer. You might get a different effect. So just going across, getting my paper nice and wet. It's not soaking. It's not curling up. I don't have puddles. It's just shiny and wet. So then I'm going to go in and start dropping in my colors. So since we're doing the ocean, I'm going to start with my blue, same blue we use for penguin. And kind of put some blue on the paper. And see how it's spreading? We like that, because that's you're going to get really natural looking blend there. So we want it spreading out like that. And then I can maybe go back in with a little bit of this kind of darker bluish. I don't need much of this. We have a few specks of that. Again, you don't have to use the same colors I'm using. You can also get your brush. If your brush and your paint and all of that's getting too wet, you really need to have paper towel or something to dry it nearby. So you see this, and if you start to see your paper, I see this a lot when I'm walking around helping kids. If you start to see your paper getting little balls, like the paper is falling apart, you need to stop painting. At that point, it's best to just stop and get some help or start blotting off paint. But if you just keep trying to paint at that point, you're gonna just end up having to probably throw away your art or have. So see, I don't want my paper balling up at all. Again, it's also, you don't need to touch the paper super roughly. So I'm getting a way different effect here than I did on these because I'm using a lot more purple. So I'm going to go in, and I want to be careful of mixing purple and green because they are contrasting colors. So kind of keep them. And it does not have to be lines this time. We kind of focused on having lines with the penguin. But this time, you could do swirls. Because we're going to be going back in. Here I'm mixing kind of blue and green together. And making shells and different sea life plants. So if you have some little blobs at the end, you can go in and kind of like turn those into some of your creatures for your painting, which will make more sense when we do this next time. Okay, so again, I don't want to overwork it. I'm getting some little bit of puddles here, so I'm going to just dab those. And if you end up with, some white showing through, that's fine. You can always go back and just Okay. I kind of just tend to play around with it until I'm happy with my final result. But at the same time, you have to know when to stop. You don't want to just keep working and working it until it just kind of starts to lose any sort of interest. So this is a really different one. It's a lot more cool than the one I did before. But once you put all of these things on the top, what's in the background isn't going to matter as much anyway. I'd say the main thing is using the cool tones, thinking of the ocean, and keeping it light enough. We don't want any big dark areas because we want our markers next week to show over the top. So I would say I am going to stop there for tonight. So have fun, and I look forward to seeing your art.